When Donald Trump began selecting nominees for his cabinet, he made one thing incredibly clear. Well, actually, two. The first was that he was going to appoint the most insane and unqualified people possible. The second was he wasn't going to be appointing Nikki Haley to anything. Yes, we remember Donald Trump took to Truth Social and made it clear that he was not bringing Nikki Haley back to his White House. And clearly, that has upset her, because on her podcast, Nikki Haley decided to start taking shots at one of Donald Trump's cabinet nominees in Tulsi Gabbard, absolutely stabbing Donald Trump in the back and ripping Tulsi Gabbard to shreds. The GOP infighting has already begun in the House and Senate, but now it's going on around Donald Trump's orbit, and I absolutely love to see it. Now, I don't enjoy Nikki Haley and enjoy any of her policies, but what she said about Tulsi Gabbard was actually spot on, and of course it's upsetting Donald Trump, and we are going to get into all of that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really means the world to me. Now let's get into this incredible takedown from Nikki Haley.
Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence. Now, everybody loves that she is now saying she's a Republican. But I have always said, let's look at what they've said, what their actions are. DNI, that is the president's top intelligence advisor. It's supposed to fairly represent the views of 18 separate intelligence agencies and units. It has the authority over $100 billion annual U.S. spy budget. $100 billion U.S. annual spy budget. And it holds sway over which secrets we declassify. That's a big deal. This is a job for an honest broker without any pronounced policy biases. So hold that thought for a second. What are the facts about Tulsi Gabbard? She opposed ending the Iran nuclear deal. She opposed sanctions on Iran. She opposed designating the Iran military as terrorists who say death to America every single day. She said that Donald Trump turned the U.S. into Saudi Arabia's prostitute. This is going to be the future head of our national intelligence. In Congress, Tulsi criticized Trump's authoritarian strike against Qasem Soleimani. Now, I will remind you, he was considered the master of death in Iran. She said he had no justification whatsoever for killing him. She tried to limit Trump's war powers against Iran. She tried to cut our annual defense budget so that we couldn't punish Iran and hinder their influence. Reminder, Iran is our #1 sponsor of terrorism, and Tulsi Gabbard was defending Iran. She went to Syria in 2017 for a photo op with Bashar al-Assad while he was massacring his own people. She said she was skeptical that he was behind the chemical weapons attacks. Now, this to me is disgusting because, Cheney, you and I were at the United Nations when Assad did those chemical attacks on those children. Yep. And you can go back and look at a speech I gave holding up pictures of dead children who had been killed by chemical attacks.
Yep, choked to death.
For her to say that Assad was not behind that, literally everything she said about that were Russian talking points. Every bit of that. That was Russian propaganda. After Russia invaded Ukraine, Tulsi Gabbard literally blamed NATO. Our Western alliance that's responsible for countering Russia, she blamed NATO for the attack on Ukraine. And the Russians and the Chinese echoed her talking points and her interviews on Russian and Chinese television. Tulsi Gabbard pushed for dropping charges against WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange and pardoning National Security Agency contractor Edward Snowden, both whom were accused of leaking highly sensitive U.S. secrets that put Americans in danger. She called for Trump to end the destructive trade war with China. So now she's defended Russia, she's defended Syria, she's defended Iran, and she's defended China. Now, she has not denounced any of these views. None of them. She hasn't taken one of them back. DNI, Department of National Intelligence, this is not a place for a Russian, Iranian, Syrian, Chinese sympathizer. DNI has to analyze real threats. Are we comfortable with someone like that at the top of our national intelligence agencies?
Again, I don't particularly enjoy any of Nikki Haley's policy positions. I don't enjoy her personally because I cannot fathom that a person would understand how dangerous Donald Trump and, of course, his cabinet nominees are and still support him, even though, of course, she was challenging him there and has called him out a couple of times. But this is the guy you wanted to throw your full support behind, the guy who was actually willing to throw you under the bus immediately after doing so. It shocks me. But it is still important what Nikki Haley is saying, that Tulsi Gabbard is obviously so incredibly dangerous and heading up such an important agency. These are all of Donald Trump's nominees, but what he's doing right now is flooding the zone. There is so much crazy, it's hard for us to separate it. We're so focused on Matt Gaetz that we forget about RFK Jr., Pete Hegseth, or Tulsi Gabbard. But we have to call all of these people out. We also have to call out the ridiculousness that's going on in this Republican Congress with a focus not on improving anyone's lives, but attacking one specific member of Congress, Sarah McBride, who is the first congresswoman, the first trans congresswoman to ever be elected. And she is getting attacked left and right by unhinged Republicans. And Speaker Jeffries, should be Speaker Jeffries, called that out right here.
The notion that this incoming small House Republican conference majority is beginning to transition to the new Congress by bullying a member of Congress. This is what we're doing. This is the lesson that you've drawn from the election in November. This is your priority, that you want to bully a member of Congress as opposed to welcoming her to join this body so that all of us can work together to get things done and deliver real results for the American people. I think it causes you to have to ask the question, what was all the rhetoric about over the last several months on the campaign trail? Did you lie to the American people? Are you really focused on solving problems for the American people? Are you really focused on lowering costs, addressing the high cost of living? Are you really focused on housing prices? Apparently not. Are you really focused on grocery prices? Apparently not. Are you focused, as Republicans, on building a healthy economy? Apparently you are not. And we will not hesitate to call that out every time they lean into their far-right extremism and ignore the things that the American people want us, as members of Congress, to focus on together.
Future Speaker Hakeem Jeffries is so spot on there. These Republican transphobic attacks are gross, they are bullying, and they just go to show that Republicans don't actually care about improving anyone's lives. They just want to cause chaos. They want to cause problems, and they don't want to fix anything because they don't know how. All they know how to do is create chaos. That's what they're about. But Sarah McBride isn't letting it get to her. She doesn't care. She's moving forward to help serve her constituents. And she gave such a perfect response to a lot of these Republican attacks in a clip I want to check out right here.
What I was hearing from voters across the state of Delaware, my district is urban, suburban, and rural. It looks like America. And what I was hearing was not the ads that Donald Trump was putting on the air. What I was hearing from folks is the need to build an economy that works for everyone. What I was hearing was that the American dream is increasingly unaffordable and inaccessible. What I was hearing was that we need to guarantee affordable health care, housing, and child care for every person in this state and in this country. That's what I was hearing. That's what I was campaigning on. I didn't run on my identity, but my identity was not a secret. And in a state where 2/3 of the voters are in the Philadelphia media market, with a trans candidate on the ballot statewide, that candidate not only performed on par with other Democrats, but had the highest percentage of any Democrat running for major statewide office in Delaware this cycle. And so I think what we have to all recognize here is that when a politician tries to take an issue that impacts a handful of people in a handful of states and turn it into the most important issue in an election, everyone has to ask why. And the answer to that question is that Donald Trump was trying to divide and distract from the fact that he has absolutely no policy solutions for the issues that are actually keeping voters up at night, the issues that I was hearing about on the campaign trail. And I think we have to be crystal clear as we move forward that we are going to call out the hypocrisy of Donald Trump, of disingenuously claiming that he is a fighter for working people when his agenda is pro-higher cost and pro-inflation. That's what we will get with his agenda in this administration. And that's why I think all of us are united in serving as that check on his administration and continuing to point out to people that he is not working on behalf of the diverse working class in this country.
That is what real leadership looks like, not this nonsense that Republicans are doing. That is focus on your constituents, your community, and moving our country forward. And we need a lot more of that. Disappointed that the American people couldn't see that we needed a lot more of that, both in the House, the Senate, and the White House. But we keep fighting for 2026 and 2028. And we're going to keep talking about that and all the elections between as well. Let's be honest. We're going to fight every day. But we're going to keep talking about that on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you're stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue bar in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.